Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. This is season 5, episode 6. And this is your podcast for Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2020. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the delay there. Our guest had a pretty substantial rider list of things that he needed and required to be on the show. We were pretty close, and as we hit the go button, we realized that we had not put enough blue M&Ms in his candy dish in his green room prior to the show, so we got that fixed, and we're happy to have on as our guest tonight, everybody's favorite mini bike enthusiast, everybody's best bud, Eian Cordova from CB Minis will be joining us in the podcast tonight, straight out of Hanford. Eian, former Joe's Minibike Reunion People's Choice Award winner, and the builder, along with his crew at CB Minis, put together that awesome lowered taco, and that bike is still getting notoriety. In fact, I use it in the pre-event promotion. If you haven't seen it, and if you haven't had the chance yet to talk to Eian, this is going to be a great podcast for you. And for those of you who know Eian, like we all do, I'm sure you guys are going to be enjoying some of the conversation we're having, including a major announcement. Yes, that's right. A major announcement in Eian's life. I want to thank our sponsors at Pioneer Car Electronics. You know, Pioneer is the global leader in car electronics and a proud supporter of automotive events and enthusiasts everywhere, like Joe's Minibike Reunion. And no matter what you guys are driving, Pioneer's got the gear to upgrade your ride to sound better and to help you connect with the latest technology like Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and new for 2020, Amazon Alexa. Remember, don't break up with your car, upgrade it. Learn more from our friends at pioneercarelectronics.com. And with that note, I'd like to thank Ted and everybody over there at Pioneer for the continued support. Hope everybody's doing good. It's a shit show out here in LA. We've probably got about 20,000 people hanging out in front of the mayor's house with a very manageable and seems to be at this point a mild protest, which is all good. There are some terrible things happening out there. For those of you who are in St. Louis, they had a fatality with one of their police chiefs. There were some bad things that were happening in Vegas as well as Louisville. So it's awkward now. We're under a curfew, which each time I try to think what that word is, I want to say chaos. I think they're both one and the same. But we've been managing and we've been coping, and we've been hoping that you guys are all doing the same as well, and everybody's safe and everybody that you know is safe, and we'll get through this like everything else, right? So today's podcast is a nice little getaway from all the stuff you may see on the news or be reading in the newspaper. Our newspaper is a joke nowadays because there's nothing to talk about. Let's face it, we get the newspaper, we go right to the sports, and there's nothing there. We're anxious to get things going. I had many of you ask about the status of Joe's Minibike Reunion. Thank you for that. I just come up empty because we can't really talk too much about anything because there's nothing to say. The event is largely under the guise of the state, and as you can all imagine, there's nothing happening right now. So typically, I have my date firmed. I have things in motion now, or would have had by now, and we can still make it happen. You know, it's not as easy as just opening up the park gate as some may think. And to do things properly, I'd like to have a few months to get my arms around it at least. Not to mention that, like many of you, the end of my year is kind of heavy, and that's why I try to get the event done by October. So with the fact that many other events that would have happened before my October date would probably need to be slated before me, we are, I think, on an upward slope. But that's not stopped us before, right? And we've got two great inductees that are planned to be celebrated at this year's Joe's Minibike Reunion, again, presented by Pioneer Car Audio. I also want to recognize our other sponsors, GoPowersports.com, our friends at Go Kart USA. In fact, I'm wearing one of their new t-shirts for their American Racer. They're sending me another American Racer. And we'll find a partner that wants to help us with that build. That'll give us something to do before the show. I was hoping to get my hands on that and get something done to celebrate and bring to the show. So thanks, Go-Kart USA, our friends over at Studs Racing. Look forward to spending some time with Eric, hopefully soon. Also want to, again, remind everybody that at this year's Plan Joe's Minibike Reunion, we were celebrating the induction of the Hall of Fame to both Jake Moe and to Rafa Ramirez from GTS. And for those of you who may not have heard about that announcement that we made earlier in this year's podcast, we're really excited about that. And as we look at that Hall of Fame, it's, there's selections made, and then you look out there, there's so many other talented folks out there. And at some point, I hope that everybody gets a little chance to get recognized. If not, I'll recognize you right now. Thank you for all the good efforts that everybody's continuing to do. Oh, that's my wife calling. Wait, hold on here. Yeah, one of the first rules, turn off your cell phone, right? So today we're going to field some questions. If you guys have any comments that you'd like to maybe have answered by our good friend Eian Cordova, feel free to make a comment on the Facebook page. If you have something witty, or if you have a little question that maybe we want to address, I've got some of these Joe's Minibike Reunion face and nose covers. It's kind of like a sleeve. You just put it over your head and it's got a logo on there. We'll give away a few of those, and we'll also give away some of these t-shirts that the folks over at Go-Kart USA sent to us. I've got a XXX that's got Charles Mini Drag Bike Mosley's name on it. So I've got a couple others to give away. So send in some comments, send in some questions if you'd like. Our guest tonight, Eian Cordova, is a guy that I met online when we were, I guess, kicking off the Facebook pages and all the associated social media BS that goes with the event launch. And Eian was, he was just one of the guys that was already online talking about our hobby. And we became friends. We met at one of my events. As time went on, we got to meet his family and had a chance to meet Pops and meet Eric and meet Eddie, meet the dog, meet members and friends of his that he would bring down. And he was a great guy, and not just in my view, in everybody else's view. And when his name would come up, everybody had that little RCA dog, that image where he's tilted his head. Because when you had mentioned Eian, first of all, his first name is a little bit unique. And Eian Cordova, everybody had already talked to Eian. Everybody had already done a deal with Eian. Eian had already been there. Let's just say you were online like a Craigslist and you were searching out mini bikes and you thought you found something. And when you would call, it had already usually been sold to either Eian or Justin Eichler. So Eian was one of those guys. He knew where the Clinton Panther motors were. He knew where the Taco 44s were. He knew where the keys to everybody's closets were, so to speak. And he was a source of not only knowledge, but connections. Because if you needed West Bend, chances are he knew where you can get one. Subsequently, everybody had a chance to meet when we did the event. And it was that event, those early events, where everybody got a chance to put the online names with real faces. So Eian came to the event. He stood out. I'm not exactly sure. He brought out a couple of bikes the first 2 years, a nice Taco with a speckled paint job and a couple others. And we've had him on as a guest on our podcast before. Those of you who are fans of the podcast probably remember we had Eian on as well as his family. So without further ado, let's talk to the man from Hanford, California, heading up CB Minis, and welcome him to the podcast. Welcome, Eian. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I was joking with Emmanuel how it looks like I'm talking to a hotshot NASCAR Winston Cup driver. You're all set up there with the Wing sprint cars, and you got the hat and the t-shirt on, and you're looking good. How are things over there in Hanford, Eian? What have you been up to, brother?
Things are good. Not that we got away from mini bikes, but we're into outlaw kart racing. Not necessarily a sprint car, but pretty much like it. You can see in the background here. That's my nephew's little box stock kart. So we about 2018 he got into it, and we got away from the mini bike deal and started doing this. after a year of it, I bought myself a cart, and I got into it pretty heavy. And here it is. That's where we're at today.
Well, you always can use a mini bike in the pit, right?
Always. We got something brewing, but we'll save that for later. As far as mini bike,
that could be a good theme bike for you, Ian. All things considered, maybe you can just whip up a bitchin' CB Minis version of a pit bike.
Yeah, that'd be fun. My brother takes his out there and rides his around, so we have them out there.
Yeah, they're all over. So it's been a bit. It's been a minute. You mentioned that you're caught up now with the roundy round cars, and you're working with Gavin. And I know that's a family affair, like many of the oval track sports. It's I guess for that matter, any type of racing. You need folks to help out. You need somebody that really has got that chassis tuning skill, and that you've got the guy who's going to be able to work with the driver. And there's so many spinning plates there. What do you find yourself doing as a part of the CB Mini teams there for Gavin? Are you like the what would they call that? The crew chief?
No, not necessarily the crew chief. That's my oldest brother, Eddie. But I kind of just help him out, like as far as online, his marketing, helping him out with his sponsors and stuff like that. But anything that he wants, we're there helping him. It's like you said, it's a family thing, so it's fun once we get there. Not only our family, but the people we meet there, they're always there to help us out. So it's fun. We're all learning as a family.
So the focus was on Gavin. How cool. The young upstart in the family. He's got you, he's got your brothers, he's got his grandpa there helping him. What was it, the frequency and the involvement around the oval racing? You got the fever and you wanted to get in the cart and you wanted to do it yourself. Is that what ended up happening?
Yeah, pretty much just being out there. And I would watch the other classes because his is a winged like cage cart. So I would watch the flat carts that don't have a cage or anything on them, the older guys. And I figured, hey, I can do this. So as searching for one, just like we searched for mini bikes, found one for the right price and couldn't pass it up. And actually that cart I just sold maybe about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So further success, we hope, for your roundy round efforts, not only yours, but obviously with Gavin. We've all seen the social media posts about him. So you're doing a good job on that end. And maybe we'll see you with a couple checkered flag first place trophies in the future. If nothing else, be safe and have fun out there, because behind those cute little wings, those are some pretty challenging vehicles. Those roundy round cars. It's very competitive. It's dirt racing, dirt bike racing with a couple more wheels and tires on it. So be safe out there more than anything else, I guess, Ian. What is your current mini bike inventory status? What's going on with you and the two-wheel little wonders that you are so well known for?
Well, I still have the green taco that from the show. I have that one. I have a George Barris. I have I believe it's the Flamer. I have that. It's in its original state. I haven't messed with it. I have a GTS frame and fork, but other than that, my brother Eric, he's got a cat, a chopper, a duster. He's got an Arco, and he's got a bird.
Oh, that's a nice little collection. No bonanzas or tacos. Did I miss any of those? Well, you got the one taco behind you, obviously. Any bonanzas in the fleet?
No, that's pretty much it. That's that one. But I sparked up something last week with Jake Moe that we've already had going. So hopefully from here, me and him are gonna get going on that, and hopefully your show is still going and we'll be there.
You mentioned Jake Moe. Jake had been exhausted with social media and all the keyboard warriors and all the talk about politics and all this other stuff. It's not just him. I think everybody's at that point where what used to be a casual acquaintance, drop online, post a couple of things. Now people are just sitting around with a lot of idle time on their hands, and it's like a conversation that's lasting just a little bit too long, a dinner party that's got too many guests kind of a thing. So yeah, maybe taking that blackout approach that many folks had taken today online, whether it was just a pause from all that, good, bad, or indifferent. I actually wondered about doing this podcast, but how could I turn down a chance to have some time with you? And in the spirit of what we're trying to do, which is get away from a lot of that nonsense, it's good to catch up with you. So you still have a nice fleet. And if your fleet's not as heavy as it was in the past, you've got some other bikes hanging around there. That Bears bike sounds pretty cool. That would be a great bike. There's some increased popularity, not only with that iconic name, but I see the Batmobile is getting a little bit more online exposure. There's some documentaries happening. Joe G and Barry from Barris Customs, who Ed and I worked with last year. They are, they really are true automotive historical icon celebrities. There's no denying that. And that bike, that Barris bike that you have, especially if it's in original condition, that could be another one, maybe, Ian, that you could consider focusing in on. That would be a great return, and a lot of folks would probably appreciate you guys maybe bringing that back to life.
Yeah, that bike there is it's funny because the story, real quick story behind it. Justin, it's been a couple of years. Justin Eichler, he texted me out of the blue and he says, "You're in Hanford." Yeah, well, I guess that bike was in Hanford this whole time. I knew nothing about it. And he wanted me to pick it up for him. So I picked it up for him, had it here at my house the whole time. And he says, since it's at your house, would you like to just take it off my hands? And so that's how I got it.
I've got a copy of some original artwork that was sent to me by our friend Greg Dahlia on the East Coast. You know Greg, Ian. Christ, you know everybody.
Yeah.
And
he's a great guy.
Yeah, there were some awesome drawings, and I will mention it on the Facebook page after the show because I can't quite get up. I got these headphones to find out who the artist was, but I've got that model bike that you have in a color picture, and I'll send that to you, as well as one of those Joe's Minibike Reunion posters that Steady Garage put together with that little West Bend and what appeared to be like an extended Bonanza. We had some of those posters, and I don't know if you got one because you weren't at the show last year, so I'll send you a little goodie bag.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
In fact, I'll put some stuff in for the guys too. The guys being Pops and Eric and Eddie and everybody else and Gavin. Ian, you have had you've had enough bikes come through the door. What is your favorite mini bike? Have you developed a favorite? Is there a particular one that you guys, I guess, would hang your hat on over there at CB Minis, or you're still pretty wide open?
I would say the green taco. I mean, I put so much time and not only money, effort, and that bike. The whole point of it was for your show and to try to turn heads, and I think I did more than that. So that bike, I'll probably always hold on to. That one will always be in our camp.
Have you had anybody that there's a few folks trying to buy that bike from you almost immediately, if I recall? Were there a few folks hawking up on trying to get on that bike?
Yeah, I've had a few people contact me and they've thrown me good offers, but like I said, it's one of those things that it means more to me than any amount of money at this point. So I'll have to pass. But yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me about it, and a lot of people tell me when I'm ready to sell it to make sure they're the first ones on the list.
Well, you've been in a buying mode recently. I understand that you paid a visit to our friend Minibike Paul this past was it Monday, Memorial Day?
Yeah, it was last Saturday.
Okay.
But this past Saturday, and thanks to you, Paul, he got a hold of me, and he told me to go by his shop, and he's got a nice fleet of racing dirt carts that he would like for me to go check out. So we talked a couple times, and finally me and Pops and my brother Eddie, we went down there last Saturday, and fun little trip. Everything was great, and the weather, and meeting Paul. And I mean, I've met him before, but it's been a while, and seeing his shop and the carts he had were awesome. Couldn't pass them up. So we went ahead and did that. And
those were alcohol. What we're talking about are
yeah,
race carts.
Those are race. Yeah, they're full on race carts with Uncle Frank's built Blue Lazoon, the overhead valve. We're talking 20, 22, 25 horsepower he was talking about. So yeah.
So you went and did you do the lock, stock, and barrel? Did you get all of them?
Yeah, we took everything he had cart wise in his shop. He told us to make sure he had nothing left of carts, and that we did.
You know what? Here's the deal. First of all, I couldn't have been any happier that you were the guy who had an interest in those carts, because you see Paul doesn't fool around at his shop, right?
Yeah.
And like many of those types of guys, they fall in and out of interests. One year it's a shoebox Chevy. The next year you want to be the king of the Powells. Next year he's Scat Kitty. You got Evil Ed and Guardrail Dave building bikes. He's got orders in before one bike's done. Paul was just that guy. It continues to be, but you get to a place where you want to pause. It's no different than what you did with the mini bike thing. You went and you didn't abandon it. You just took a pause, and you got into your roundy rounds, and you'll come back in when you're ready. At some point, Ian, you're going to be done.
And the way I look at it is, my nephew, he's only 9 years old. Who knows if down the line, he's well into it, but who knows where he'll be as far as racing. So I take the chance now to enjoy it with him and my family. So it's fun and I enjoy it. So I miss the mini bikes, but like you said, I didn't really get out of it. I just took a break.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I have when Paul mentioned the carts, I had no interest in carts. It wasn't ever me. The most I did was help my buddy who turned out to be the 250 shifter kart champion, my buddy Scott Timberlake. And I used to help pit for him occasionally. And he used to always have me push start the cart and then make sure that he would leave me on my face. Because those things first take off, they just leave you. I fell victim to that time and time again, but that's quite a feat, driving one of those little carts too. I mean, we talked about the sprint carts. You jump inside one of those go-karts, those 250s, those 125s, or those alcohol breathing carts that Paul had. Those.
Yeah. Well, my nephew right now, they run a Briggs LO206 motor. Well, his next step is a 250. So he'll be right there in no time. So it'll be fun to watch.
So Ian, what's a day in a life like for you outside of the racing? What are you doing work-wise?
Well, I work over at a hospital with X-rays. I've been doing that for a while. It's not local here. It's about the next county over, about 20, 30 minutes away. But I've been doing that for a while now. But other than that, just kart racing on the weekends.
How many years you been doing the X-ray thing?
It's been about 11 and a half years.
So when you turn the light off in your room, are you green? Are you translucent?
No, not that I can see.
What's happening with you on the personal side? I know that you were pretty serious with a gal, and that usually folks don't talk too much about that, but what's been going on with you?
Well, everything's been good, but pretty much on Christmas, hopefully I'm getting the gift of a lifetime. I'm going to be a father.
Wow. So, congratulations.
Thanks.
When did you find that out?
It means a lot to me.
I bet.
It's been a little bit, couple months.
Well, what a great time in your life. I'm assuming this will be.
I can't wait. So hopefully he or she is into mini bikes or carts.
I don't think that child has a chance either way, right? In a good way. Well, that's got to be pretty exciting. It'll also put things in perspective for you, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's been a joy in my life. I can't wait. It's gonna be life changing, but I'm ready, and like I said, I can't wait.
I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of the folks that are listening. I see Jake Moe and some others already giving you a thumbs up and congratulations and a yay. Evil Ed chiming in, Justin Bett, Joe Petralia. Ian, that's awesome. I remember when Nikole first came around. It was probably way before you were born. Nikole was born, let's just say in the 80s. And there's a big change that happens once you have your first child, and it's all good. It's going to be probably the time of your life, and you be a great dad without question. What are you excited about the most as you become a new proud papa?
Just learning. I mean, that's going to be the number one thing. Not only am I going to be, guiding and teaching, I'm also going to be learning also at the same time. So I can't wait. It's all going to be a big learning curve and excitement and big ball of fun all in one.
Do you x-ray young children at your job as well? Is it all types of people, young and old?
Yeah, it's all types. All types.
Well,
but here locally, we have a Valley Children, so a lot of the pediatrics go there.
Well, you also have a whole different take on that too, Ian, once you become a parent. It'll be even more rewarding and more gratifying for you. It's good. The good times are ahead there. Do you think you'll have a few kids? Are you one of those folks where you think you'll be one and done, or are you looking to maybe have a big family?
So far, I'm not sure. So, I mean, everybody says one and done and everything else happens. I'm just focusing on this one so far, and all I want is a healthy baby, and we're all happy.
You've got a big advantage that when Nikole was born, Ian, the only way you could capture any kind of video is if you used the camcorders. And at the time, the camcorders were like the size of a piece of Samsonite luggage, like literally. Okay. It'd be like putting on a piece of luggage. And what you have now with your cell phone to not only, and not so much capturing the birth, because I think that's way overrated, believe me, but capturing the moments and the video. And there was a time where I used to have to go away for a few weeks, and you've got no contact with the kid. You're over maybe a handheld phone. Now with FaceTime and with the ability, things like Zoom, like what we're doing now, you don't miss anything as an active young parent. You are able to capture everything on video and photos with your cell phone now. So you're coming up in a time that's going to be pretty cool. And by Christmas baby, is that what you're expecting? A Christmas baby?
Yeah. Christmas is over.
Well, we'll have to make a special Joe's Minibike Reunion onesie or something for the baby. Right now, all you have is bibs, so we'll put one of those aside for the young, upcoming Cordova. Who's the lucky bride? What's her first name?
Victoria.
Well, congratulations is it Victoria, did you say?
Yeah, Victoria.
How long have you guys been together, Ian?
It's been about 5 months, 6 months.
Did you guys know each other in the past?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Did you go to high school together or anything, or what?
Yeah, I went to high school with her sister, so.
That's nice. So you guys come from the same place.
It's a small town, so everybody knows everybody, and so it's a good time. When
you look back at it now, would you have ever thought this would be the woman that you would be having a child with?
I'm happy, so we're here. But yeah, it's no regrets.
I didn't think so. It sounds like it was just meant to happen. You guys grew up.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. So what else is
wonderful? So I can't wait.
And she's okay with your going out there to the racetrack every other minute?
Yeah, but hey, once the kids here, it's full on dad.
Yeah, you just balance it out. You know, you make sure that you keep things in check on both ends. That usually works out. Well, who knows, Ian? You could be a couple months away from being a parent the next time we all see you. Excuse me, if the reunion holds true. Our planned date is October the 17th here at CV Park in beautiful La Crescenta, California. And I do hope, although, in fact, you could probably hear some of the sirens in the background. I do hope that some of this madness goes away. And I also have to have a deep, and I'll need all your input as well. As I look out there, I want to say hi to Dane Walton. Dane says hi, Ian, as well. Paul, Minibike Paul, you guys are probably sick of each other by now. Why don't you two get a room, for Christ's sake? John Norby, what's up, Joe? How you doing, John? Dave Ramiro, good to see you. Guys, I've got some of these limited Joe's Minibike Reunion face things, and you put them over your head, and it covers off, and you can go rob liquor stores like me and E do. I've got a couple of these t-shirts. I also sell these. It's $15 and it includes shipping. You could just send the $15 however you want, PayPal, or send me an email. We've got about 100 of them. If anybody would like one, tell me you'd like one, and we'll probably give a few away as well. We have hopes to see everybody at the show this year. I've already reached out to all the folks that make that happen, our security, our advertising partners, our city. I haven't quite rented the dumpsters, and I haven't quite ordered the food trucks, and y'all know what a challenge that's been, but we dialed up Mr. Black. We'll probably get a couple more folks helping us out with security, just based on the fact that you don't know what's going on right now. But we're hopeful that we have it. And if for whatever reasons this does not allow us to have it, we'll deal with it. I'm not into these virtual online. That's not something. I saw one recently that was really well done. It happened at the Peterson Museum. Folks stayed in their car. They drove to the museum. They drove up the ramps, and they came back down, and they stopped, and they videotaped that driver and did like all but a walk around about that car. And although it was informative, especially if you like that person or that car, it was grueling. It was grueling. There'd be no way I could see me putting all of our fans and all of our participants through a laborious, long, drawn out walk around on everybody's mini bike. So that there will be no virtual bullshit Joe's Minibike Reunion event. That's not going to happen. We're either going to be live with each other, or we'll see each other the following year. That's kind of my take on it. For those of you who are optimistic like I am and remain, we'll see each other. For those of you who are hesitant, and at some point, I think we all have to make that decision as to whether or not we're willing to go out. We still have much more time ahead of us to be able to make those decisions. We've got the whole month of June. We've got all of July. Hopefully by that time, we'll have some insight, and we'll be able to guide folks so that they can plan accordingly. And candidly, if I'm not able to have it and they let me know in July, I'll let everybody know that too, so you can know out front, because there will be other folks that are independent that don't rent a park from the state like I do that may have their own event. It's unfortunate, but I've seen many of them postponed and canceled. Many of them that I love, they're just not happening because people are taking the route of safety rather than celebration and being together. It's a slippery slope. We're going to give away some shirts. The one shirt is going out to Montoya Dutch. I've got a Joe's Minibike Reunion branded face. I don't know what you call them, a shield going out to Renee Aguiar. And I also have another shirt that goes out to, let's see here, Brian Ekstrom. Congratulations, Brian Ekstrom. I'll look at some of the comments a little bit later on, and we'll give away a few more of the masks. I don't even know if people are using them. I do. And when the whole coronavirus pandemic goes away, we're not worried about walking around with masks. These are pretty cool too, because I noticed you wear them like a neck shield when you're riding your motorcycle or your ATV or your Grom. So we've got some of those. Ian, as you look towards these summer months, upcoming child aside, what's what's on your menu? What do you got going on in your life?
Well, hopefully they let us go racing with all this going on. We've been on hold just like everything else, so we're just hoping that we can get racing around here soon. And like I said earlier, just get going with Jake, and that's pretty much what I got going on right now as far as build wise and racing and all that going on.
Have you been keeping in touch with a lot of your mini bike online friends? You still in touch with the guys? You had Colin Smith and a few other guys.
Oh, yeah. If you notice the hat here, it says 405. That's the area code for Colin Smith, the Yukon, Oklahoma. So it's kind of like throwing him out there and say what's up to him. But Temecula Bob's always chiming in when we're racing. We've got the live videos going on with my nephew. He's always on there. Like I said, we've been with Minibike Paul, Corona Irving, always in touch with that guy. I mean, your podcast with him was one of the best in my eyes. But Jake Moe, and congrats to him on the whole Hall of Fame. That guy's crazy with his creations and his skills, and congrats to him. You know, his little girl. That's cool. But other than that, just want to say what's up to my niece and nephew out there too, Gavin and Peyton.
For those folks who may want to help feed the machine for Gavin's ride, how do they get a hold of you to maybe send a few bucks your way, or maybe send you some product? I think I was involved in one podcast. Was it for the Aftermarket Insider? And we had Driven Racing Oil on. So I think you had a little banter going.
Yeah.
Make sure you hook up with Tammy Holland over there, and she'll send you some product for the carts for sure.
Yeah, my if he has a Instagram, it's Gavin _Cordova 18C, and like I said earlier, I help him out with that, so I run that for him, and he also has a Facebook at Gavin Cordova Racing 18C. But other than that, yeah, I help him out. It's fun. I mean, he takes it so serious. We all take it just as serious. So hey, it's fun.
Where are you buying all the parts for his cart? There's a time where has he graduated from Predators? I mean, there's a time he was running around with Predator built carts.
Yeah. He when he started in his beginner class, they ran a Predator, but as he jumped up, rules changed, and they all have to run Briggs LO206, and there's different. They can run a black slide in the carb. So, but the top three are teched, just like any other kind of racing. Motors are torn down, make sure everything's good, and it's fun.
Where do you get most of your parts, Ian?
Well, it's a factory QRC part, so all the parts on there we just get from QRC, and everything's there. If you race up north, they're actually on site, so they have a parts trailer. You can get them all right there.
Anybody there at QRC you want to give a shout out to, or who's helped you out at all?
Well, my nephew, he really looks up to their driver, Tanner Holmes. He's a young kid himself, but a lot of the little youngsters look up to him, and I thank him because he's always there to, good luck to my nephew, a good job, and so it's cool.
Well, I don't know if you know, Ian, but back when we started Circle Track Magazine many, many, many years ago, I was a part of that group and working with CJ Baker and Pete Saueracker, and we used to go up to Hall Racing, which is up in Oxnard, California, and they would put retards like me through the paces. We'd go up there and sign a release, and they'd stick us in these little carts, and before you know it, we would be running each other over, and carts would be flipping all over the place. And it was at that time where you really got to enjoy the excitement of those carts. It's a little bit unique, not quite one that the mini bike provides, but it's definitely a fun, exciting sport. I'm glad that you guys have found some closeness to it. Once again, enjoy yourself out there. Be safe. Have a good time. We look forward to you dipping your toe back into the mini bike game, whether it's with a Jake Moe project or maybe resurrecting that cool Barris bike. On behalf of everybody over here, obviously Linda, who thinks the world of you, and her sister Gail, who thinks you're really cute, like all the other girls do, Ian. I guess you're probably used to that. But it's been good catching up with you. Is there anything that we missed or anybody that we missed before we let you go?
No, I just thanks to my brothers. They're always helping me out in some way. So thanks to them, and thanks to my beautiful woman. She's always there supporting me and supporting the racing, and about to give me the best gift of my life. So thank you.
Well, congratulations again, Ian. I'll put a little goodie bag together for you and for your brothers and pops and your soon-to-be wife and baby's mother. We'll put together some decals and some stuff. I'm sure you want to say bye to Evil Ed and a few other folks before you go. We'll let you do that. In the meantime, everybody, this has been Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast for Tuesday, the 2nd of June. We've been with Eian Cordova from CB Minis. Ian, I'm sure many folks are going to want to jump in and say hi to you. Hopefully you spent some time chatting with them after the podcast. It's been a pleasure to see you, and I hope that I literally see you October at CV Park for the 9th annual Joe's Minibike Reunion.
Sounds good, Joe. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Emmanuel, as well. That guy doesn't get enough credit, but thank you guys. Thanks everybody that tuned in. It was fun.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. A little break from the pandemonium with the pandemic and the protesting and all those other descriptive terms that we're dealing with today. That was the intention, just to get away for, 40, 50 minutes, have a chance to catch up with one of the true mini bike celebrities, in my view, Eian Cordova from CB Minis. We'll give away some of these shirts and some of these masks. PM me if I mentioned your name, and we'll get those out to you shortly. Don't email me like tomorrow asking me where it is, okay? Just like anybody else, I don't want to go to the post office and wait in line and get coronavirus to send you some damn t-shirts. So relax. I'll get it out to you, I promise. You mentioned it. Big thanks to Emmanuel. Doesn't get enough credit. Now I'm going to have to give him a raise. Jesus Christ. Big shout out to Linda. Boom, boom. Love you. Your birthday's over, so no more gifts. No more me rubbing your feet. Stop milking it. I've had a blast. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Who knows? By then, maybe the curfew will be over. Maybe the masks will still be on, but we can get out and socialize. Emmanuel and I have the final touches to put on the Barris Super Stalker video, and we're waiting for Evil Ed to come over and give him its final blessing before we get that bike back to Joji at Barris Customs. Thank you, Joji, for your patience on that. Hey, this has been a good night. Hope you felt the same. We'll see you next time on the next Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Good night, everybody. Be safe.
Minibike Show.